Next, let's talk about what we have for today. Today's topic comes from A Journey to the West, titled Memory That Transcends Time. During the 10 days of His Holiness teachings in Napa Valley, many Americans gained various levels of realization on the nature of mind and received inconceivable blessings from His Holiness. Even after 30 years, every time they mention His Holiness, their faith remains remarkably vibrant. I haven't met too many of them, but I encountered some during my travels. Later we tracked down a few more for interviews. It is truly remarkable. Although His Holiness only taught there for 10 days, you can probably feel the impact. For instance, the person who served His Holiness breakfast back then, named Lon Hill, he was very young at that time. When I saw his photo last year, wow, it was quite a shock. I suppose if he saw my photo now, he would be just as shocked. He said, "I was new to Buddhism and knew very little, but was assigned to serve breakfast for His Holiness and his retinue. He wasn't needed for lunch, just for breakfast," he said. "I was incredibly nervous, worried I wouldn't do it right, yet I felt so deeply honored. I especially loved the heart teachings His Holiness gave. They were crystal clear, straightforward, and penetrating. Every time I practice them, it feels like the only meaning of life is practice." I find this statement very striking. Even though it's from a Westerner, it directly captures the essence of His Holiness instructions. We should probably put this on the back cover of our book. I remember this sentence well. Indeed, His Holiness' words are so direct and clear. When He speaks about faith, it's quite profound. For a foreigner to feel this way, saying that through practice, this is where the meaning of life lies. I wonder if we, His Holiness personal and lineage disciples, feel the same. He also noted that the Guru Yoga of peaceful Manjushri was truly extraordinary. Also, I've found that every time I practice this Guru Yoga, I feel I can see His Holiness in person. That is truly great faith. Do we here have that same feeling? When you practice, does it feel like, perhaps due to your faith, that you are truly seeing His Holiness? Another person is named John Swearingen. He served as the videographer back then. This is how he shared his personal experience. Initially, I knew very little about His Holiness' background, but when he stands before you, there is absolutely no need to know anything about his past to feel that he is profoundly different. Sometimes a person's dignified presence, their smile, their voice, when these are experienced directly through direct perception, it is truly extraordinary. Although our generation especially relies on logic, the blessing of an accomplished master like him is hard to explain rationally. That was very well said. Once you meet him, whether you call it his energy field or his power of blessing, it's like when we visit a temple and meet a great, highly realized master, or even just listen to a single teaching. The resulting shift in one's destiny and life can be incredibly profound. This is what we call invisible power of blessing. He shared that while serving as the cameraman during the 30 minutes His Holiness was blessing the public, he stood by the camera and watched him the entire time, sometimes looking through the lens, sometimes directly. Although people walked in front of the camera, nobody disturbed me as I gazed at His Holiness. Usually, a videographer has to keep a constant watch. In fact, it's the same for photography. I once met a person who was quite skilled at photography. He said that to capture a truly great shot with the right expression, you have to keep clicking the shutter, perhaps for half an hour or even an hour, just to catch that one perfect moment. It's not as if you just snap a photo when they look happy and then walk away. It doesn't work that way. With cameras, sometimes when we take photos, though video quality nowadays is quite decent for still photography, sometimes the masters won't allow it. They might say, "Hey, don't keep wandering around here, go out, stop pacing," and sometimes we get a bit lazy ourselves. But technically speaking, like when we were selecting His Holiness photos last year, to get a photo of a true master that captures their smile, their charisma, and a perfect expression, those photos are not easy to take. So for videographers or photographers, it's like what someone once said, to capture one truly great shot, you often have to wait for a very, very long time. Just like those wildlife photographers abroad who specialize in monkeys or birds. They might wait for half a day, holding a massive camera until their hands can't even move. They stay focused like that among countless expressions. And if they only try to pick up the camera once they see it, the expression is already gone. So when it comes to recording, I'm not sure if you do this now, but for the recent teaching exams, they did find a way. I was thinking that last year we couldn't hear them at all, but now we can not only see them, but hear them too. Then I realized, wow, so they are using this method. So perhaps sometimes, since modern technology is so versatile, whether it's through photos or videos, the Dharma teachers should also preserve some records. I'm not sure if the Khenpos and Khenmas from both the male and female assemblies this year, even if you only teach 1 or 2 classes in each half of the year, you should still leave a record. Even if you don't feel you need it, after you pass away, others will. Right now you might think, oh, it's fine, I'm not much to look at anyway. Don't take my picture, there's nothing worth photographing. While you are still around, those who find you unappealing won't want to look at you. Some might even speak ill of you. But once you are gone, even those critics might come around and say, it turns out that certain Khenpo or Khenmu was actually quite wonderful. They taught us the Dharma for over a decade and never charged a single cent. Now I finally understand. But by then, their physical form has already departed. That might be the moment they develop faith in you. At that time, if there were a photo of you, even an old photo of the Khenpo would be precious. Of course, if you'd rather not, that's fine too. I won't insist. It's up to you. There's no other motive behind it. At that moment, I felt like the entire world didn't exist except for His Holiness. This is how he felt behind the lens. These practitioners are truly remarkable. He felt that except for His Holiness, nothing else in the world existed. That powerful blessing is still within my heart today. The practice manual of Peaceful Manjushri is not part of my daily practice, but I always have this small text with me. Sometimes I take it out to review and practice a little bit. As far as I know, several fellow practitioners have been practicing this regularly. His Holiness taught for 10 days back then, but they have kept the manual of the Manjushri Great Perfection by their side ever since. I find these kinds of experiences to be very interesting. John also mentioned another incident. Actually, Westerners, well, perhaps I shouldn't say it this way. Right now, I am writing about the Singapore trip. For Singapore, I might call it Moon in Water. I originally thought of Journey to the East, but it didn't sound quite right. So, Moon in Water. But regarding this Singapore trip, I'm not sure if any Singaporeans are listening, but they don't seem to remember it very clearly. Many here in the mainland aren't very clear either. However, when Westerners talk about it, they speak with such certainty. They have remarkably good memories. For us in the East, it's more like, oh, I sort of know, I roughly remember. When it comes to keeping records, it's sometimes not very precise. Perhaps this is part of the reason Western science developed the way it did. I'm not entirely sure. In any case, I haven't yet found any particularly good interview subjects there. One day, many devotees brought their pets to the center to request His Holiness' blessing. If I remember correctly, the center was Ling. It happened at the entrance where we were staying. While they were waiting for His Holiness, the cats and dogs were refusing to back down from each other. Being natural enemies, upon seeing one another, they started making provocative and aggressive noises. Some were even scratching and biting relentlessly. Everyone was at their wits' end. They didn't know what to do. The commotion was quite intense. Just as they were getting worried, His Holiness arrived. He then let out a powerful roar. I don't actually remember that part personally, but there were so many cats and dogs present. Everyone had brought their pets along. It might have seemed a bit excessive at the time, but in that moment, the pets that had been barking and scratching just a second ago instantly quieted down. It was as if nothing had happened. They all became incredibly well behaved, quiet and gentle as rabbits. I don't recall this specific detail myself, but there were certainly many animals there. When they reminisced later, this is what they said. It was right at the entrance of Ling. It wasn't just this one instance. Things like this happened quite often. This is my deepest memory, even to this day. Many people still remember this miraculous event. I heard that for several of them, this incident stands out very clearly. I used to joke that they don't talk about His Holiness blessing people. They only talk about Him blessing the animals. They are quite curious sometimes. They still talk a lot about these things. Then, our time in Napa Valley had come to a successful conclusion. It was successfully completed by then. The Dharma activities in Napa Valley concluded on July 19th. We then left that place and drove for 3 hours to Rigpa Ling. Rigpa Ling was founded by Gyandak Rinpoche. He was the elderly man with the white beard. He has already passed away now. His original home. His name was Gyandak Rinpoche. In Nyagrong there is a temple called Gyandak Monastery. It belongs to his monastery. He was an old practitioner who had moved there from the Tibetan areas. The Buddhist center he established was very peaceful and pleasant. The surrounding trees were tall and dense, a perfect setting for practitioners. The practitioners who moved from the Tibetan areas were truly remarkable. They each established their own centers. When they arrived in India, they each built monasteries too. Just look at how many monasteries there are in India. It was the same when they reached the West and the same in Australia. In the future, wherever we can build monasteries, it remains very important to establish practice centers. If you have the ability, build a center, because such a center will endure even after the founder is gone. I heard this center is still there, even though the Rinpoche has passed away. Especially in the woods on the back hill, there are many small retreat huts scattered about. Those retreat huts are very comfortable. They remind me of the small retreat huts back in my hometown. His Holiness rested there for a while in the afternoon. Led by some monks from Qinghai, I toured the scenic grounds. Then we sat on the grass and chatted and took some photos. There were a few good photos then, but this one isn't a very good photo. But I eventually included it despite my reluctance, as there were no other photos. I didn't think I looked very good in it, so it couldn't be helped. That evening, His Holiness bestowed the empowerment for the averting obstacles through dependent origination. You see, this photo was taken from a video that night. The next morning, before His Holiness departed, many people again brought their cats and dogs, as well as birds and other pets, to request His Holiness' blessing. Even though this activity wasn't on our official schedule, since they had already arranged it, nothing could be done. Some even brought their pets from very far away in advance. I heard that some people who were on retreat nearby heard that His Holiness was a very powerful Lama from Tibet. At the time, we thought even if the people didn't come to meet him, it was fine if only the animals came. There were different types of people. One type was Buddhist practitioners who insisted on getting a blessing for their beloved pets. Others were not Buddhists at all. They didn't seek any empowerments or teachings from His Holiness. But they heard he was very powerful. They were very attached to their animals, so they brought them for a blessing. There were all sorts of cases. Some who lived quite far away even brought their pets here ahead of time. This was the second time His Holiness blessed pets after Ati Ling. I think he also gave a blessing by the roadside once, but I'm not sure of the details, so it couldn't be included here. Americans love small animals very much. They treat them as family members and take them wherever they go. However, some of the dogs were quite large and looked a bit fierce. Out of safety concerns, we were a bit reluctant to let His Holiness get too close. But in his great compassion, His Holiness still recited the name of Buddha Ratnashikin and the Mani Mantra for them. We usually recite these when blessing animals. This made everyone very happy. Even after 30 years, some people at Rigpa Ling still remember this. When we asked them last year, they didn't remember much else. But they remembered the animals being blessed twice, and how they were blessed. There were longer accounts of this, but I didn't write much about them. Some people still remember it vividly. They find the moment very interesting, beautiful, and very heartwarming. Below is a newspaper. This newspaper, Santan, the one in the middle, should be from the following day. A newspaper from around the 21st, I believe. The main piece in the center. It mainly talks about the Rinpoche from Tibet invited by such and such foundation. The person next to him is Gyandak Rinpoche. The introduction inside, I don't recall much of it. Next to him is Gyandak Rinpoche at his center. It was featured in this main publication. So this still exists. Even after all this time, a newspaper still has some value. Even just a little bit of introduction from back then carries a sense of history. That's why I specifically included it. All right, we will stop here for today.
Bandara Padma Sada Bandara Padma Sada